Hello ladies and gentlemen, back again together with me, Aisyah Eka as your moderator. Now we are in the question and answer session. Mrs. Diva will be the answer of the question. The first question from Aulia Octavia. If trait anxiety is part of a person's character, is it really impossible to get rid of it? How to cope with trait anxiety?
Hi everyone, back with me again, Diva Sania Lukman. Thank you Aisyah for the opportunities and thank you for all the questions. Now, let's start answering question number 1. Question number 1 talk about trait anxiety. Is it really hard to get rid? And how do we cope with that kind of anxiety? So, first let me remind you the definition of trait anxiety. Trait anxiety is a tendency of a person to feel nervous, to feel anxious in almost every situation. That kind of anxiety is a part of a person's character, hence it's permanent. But it doesn't mean we can search a way to cope with that kind of anxiety. There are some ways on how to cope with that kind of anxiety, and I already summarized some of them. So the first one is to seek for professional helps like psychologists, psychiatrists, or therapists. And from those kind of professional helps, it will include such things like counseling, medication, and also antidepressant. But sadly, we can guarantee that all people can seek professional helps. That's why there are another way to cope with this kind of anxiety. The first one is to reduce the caffeine intake. If you love coffee, you can start by reducing the amount of coffee that you normally take. The second one is doing more physical exercise like aerobic activity for 20 or 30 minutes to improve the cardiovascular health. The third one is by doing more relaxation technique. What kind of relaxation technique? Such things like yoga, rhythmic exercise, any activities that reduce the sign of stress. Well, I guess that's the answer from me for question number 1.
The second question from Naomi Melissa. Is there any other sources of anxiety? How to overcome that anxiety?
Now, let's heading to question number 2. Question number 2 talk about is there any sources of anxiety and how to overcome that anxiety. So, like I've mentioned before in the presentation, in the materials, there are 3 major sources of anxiety. The first one is communication apprehension, the second one is test anxiety, and the third one is fear of negative evaluation. Those are the 3 major sources that can create anxiety. And from those 3, how do we overcome all those feelings, all those sources? How should we act? So the first one is we can use relaxation and warm up to calm down the anxiety. The second one is related to the fear of negative evaluation. You can practice your speech early and often so that you're familiar with the words of what you're going to say. The third one is practice some deep breathing that can calm your nerves. It will activate your body's natural relaxation response. I guess that's answer question number 2.
The last question from Farah Umul Atiatus Salsabila. In your opinion, is the anxiety really can take effect on us as a student in the Department of English? Do you have any experiences to face your anxiety or maybe someone you know?
Next question number 3. Question number 3 asks about is the anxiety really can take effect on us as a student from Department of English, and do I have any experience regarding of the anxiety? Like I've said before, we think so much about our friends' opinion, our friends, our family, or our lecturer's opinion about us. Take an example, like where the students have to go in front of the class and explain their ideas, mentioning their ideas, elaborating their ideas. Then at that time we start feeling the anxiety feelings, because when we start thinking about our friends' opinion, our lecturer's opinion, the anxiety feelings start building up in our brain. It clothes us up. That's why I guess it's really common for our students from English department to have this kind of trait anxiety. And Farah also asks, do I ever experience this kind of anxiety? I guess almost all people, including me, ever felt this kind of anxiety. I once some assignments that needed me to come in front of the class and explain of the materials, explain of the answers. And when I start to think about what my friends thought about me, is it the right answer? How about my pronunciation? All those things stuck in my head, stuck in my brain, and I can stop thinking about it, thinking about my friend's opinion, and it makes me feel this kind of anxiety. So I guess it's not a surprise anymore with the fact that uh, students, any major, any faculties, a human being to feel this kind of anxiety. And I think that's my answer for Farah's question. So everyone, I guess that's all that I can say. I'm giving this back to Aisyah. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been listening to the excellent answer for the questions. Thank you for Mrs. Diva and thank you for all the participants. Goodbye.